all for tuning in to another edition of Outside the Shop with me, your host, Daryl D. Lane, where I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get the chance to talk about on my regular sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, which you guys can all find on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, whichever podcast platform you may use. Also, on the description below, I have a little bit of a clip. It's about 3 minutes from a pod that I did a while back. But I still think it's interesting, cool little clip to listen to on YouTube. By the way, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Nick Saban, how he made a player cry. Some other Nick Saban stories that are a little frightening. I think you guys might enjoy it, so check that out on the description below. So first off, in terms of story, Tom Brady's father says QB's decision to leave Patriots for Bucks has been vindicated with a Super Bowl. So my first thought is, yes, technically he is right. I think Brady wanted to prove he could win without the mystique of Foxborough, without the mystique of Bill Belichick. Many people think is the greatest football coach to ever do the thing, right? So I do think Tom Brady is that way. Though I do think it's still yet to be determined who's won the war. Belichick can coach for a lot longer than Tom Brady can play, but Tom Brady's shown he can win without Bill, which is something Bill's going to have to show. So in that regard, yes, Tom Brady has been vindicated. He's shown that it's not just the Patriots system. The culture that he brings, he can bring a culture to someone else. So let's also think about this. Tampa Bay had no culture before Tom Brady got there. They went through quarterbacks like Josh Freeman, so many other guys, and always losing, never at the top NFC NFC South. So Tom Brady definitely brought England culture to there and has brought a standard of winning where now the Bucs seem to be the best team in the NFL. So Justin Fields is going to his first ever start against the Cleveland Browns. I'm excited to see Justin Fields play. I think it's been a long time coming. He's looked shaky passing the football, but I think he's a really special talent running the football. He gives the Bears offense a little bit of a pop that they wouldn't normally have. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch, and it's going to be a good game for him. We're kind of going to see what he's made of. The Browns, they have a good secondary. They have a good pass rush, some young linebackers, but they're coming on strong, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. Tua Tagovailoa, he is out versus the Raiders. This is a big win for John Gruden and Derek Carr, the Raiders, who should end up being 3-0 after week 3 of NFL. Tua Tagovailoa, I think this gets into, before you even get to Tua's play, what was major concern about him coming out of Alabama? Injuries, the hip, always hurt, always nicked up. He's a smaller guy. He's not thick, powerful like that was counterpart of Alabama, Jalen Hurts was. So if Justin Fields, if Tua Tagovailoa can't play, then, well, what kind of use is he? And his play isn't that great when he is on the field to where you can justify it, right? So I think this could potentially be the start of Miami maybe looking at another quarterback, because that's all part of it. Part of ability is availability, and when you're available and you're not special too, then that can create some problems, and teams start looking around. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks coming up in this draft. You have Sam Howell out of North Carolina. You have the Oklahoma quarterback, Spencer Rattler. You also have the Ole Miss quarterback whose name escaped me. There's a Ryder quarterback that's pretty good. I believe Cincinnati's quarterback has gotten some hype. So there's a lot of quarterbacks out here. And then if you look at the next year, the Clemson QB, even though he has been playing very well, he's a name that people have seen on mock draft sites for a couple of years from now. And also a quarterback from Alabama, Bryce Young. So next up, Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger has pec injury. Tomlin says Pittsburgh must be adjustable. I personally don't think Ben Roethlisberger should play. He hasn't looked very good at all. I think having him rest could do wonders for Ben and this Steelers offense. I think whoever they start, they'll either be Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins is QB3, so it'll be Mason Rudolph. You can eke out a win. They want to run the ball anyway, even though the rushing attack has been great, but the passing attack hasn't been good. They keep doing screen. And also what I will say is the receiving corps, Juju Smith-Schuster, Claypool, these are guys who can make big-time catches, awkward throws. They're those type of receivers that can deal with maybe subpar quarterback play, as opposed to maybe other receivers might struggle than you would normally think. But I don't think it's the move for Ben Roethlisberger to play. He has been great. And then you add on the fact that he's not even going to be 100%. That could be bad news, Bears. NFL Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame announcements. The class. There's been 122 nominations for the class of 2022, including 10 eligible first-time players. Here are some of the names: Anquan Bolden, wide receiver; Devin Hester, wide receiver; Andre Johnson, wide receiver; Steve Smith, wide receiver; offensive tackle Jake Long; center Nick Mangold; outside linebacker, Russian, DeMarcus Ware, Robert Mathis, defensive lineman, Vince Wilfork, defensive lineman, and defensive back, Antonio Cromartie. A lot of these guys have grown up. I grew up watching throughout the 2010s. I think of some guys that are shoo-ins. I think Devin Hester should be getting more looks, right? Like arguably the greatest returner to ever play the game. One of the greatest special teamers to ever play the game. He's a guy, when we look at Hall of Fame, being transcendent, changing a position, he's somebody that I think people should look at. Also, Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, two of the better receivers of their time, and DeMarcus Ware, one of the best rush ends to ever play the game. Now, lastly, Ben Simmons. Stories are starting to heat up in Philly. What are the 76ers going to do? Here are my thoughts on this. Joe Lacob of the Golden State Warriors kind of just said that, because there's been rumors about Ben Simmons potentially going to Golden State. He said Ben Simmons isn't a fit. I think there are other teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves have been in discussions with the Sixers, but they don't want to offer anybody. Philadelphia is in a rock and a hard place right now. They want to get value for Ben Simmons, but the other teams don't want to give up maximum value because, like I said last show, Joel Embiid, star. So if you're getting rid of Ben, you want another star back. You don't need young players. You don't need picks. That does you no justice for Joel Embiid, who is one of the 5 to 10 best players in this league, who is also a guy who is in the prime of his career. I believe he's like 27 now. He's a center. He's had health issues. So you need stars. You need veterans. You need all-star caliber players, all NBA type guys right now. It doesn't seem like they're going to get that. Ben Simmons is saying he's not going to come into camp. Doc Rivers has stated that, and Doc Rivers came on the first take and says he hopes to convince Ben to stay. I will tell Doc, you were wrong for crushing this guy when actually can Ben be your starting point guard if you want to win a championship. And Doc's like, I don't know. And I get that emotions are running high after the Atlanta Hawks series, but you just can't say that. I don't think Ben feels appreciated. I think he feels disrespected. And there's one thing when the opponent does that, when the fans do that, when outside forces do that, but when your quote-unquote brothers, your quote-unquote co-workers, the people that you work with and you battle with and you drip sweat with every day say that about you, that can make you feel some type of way. And it seems like Ben Simmons is his feelings right now, and this story can get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Stay on the lookout for that. And that's all we have for Top. Share this so you may be listening to me. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check on the description below. How did Nick Saban make a player cry? You might find it funny. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and God bless.